during the credits when Ken sends the letter from Sunnyside and how everything is good, and it goes, "We belong together, honestly. When we're together, gray skies clear up, in that way I'm left to put." Oh God.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Why Are You Still Here? You know it by now.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. Today we're gonna be doing a little, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. It's called Forcing Fandoms, right? And you might say, what's Forcing Fandoms? Well, we'll tell you. Ultimately, it comes down to we started off with Lucas's fandom, right, which is Toy Story. Toy Story, the first one through the fourth one, not so much the fourth one. You'll find out. That's his, that's his,
you will
like,
find
love
out
in life.
In time.
Okay, that was good. His fandom is Toy Story, and I like Toy Story, but I don't love it. And it's been a long time, since I've watched a whole lot of them. Exactly. And you've seen this picture multiple times if you are a fan of the show. Which if you are, thank you for being the one.
The one.
The one.
Nice Freudian slip.
No, that was on purpose.
Okay.
Yeah. So he loves Toy Story. I think it's fine. So I went and watched it. Now we're going to talk about it, and then Lucas is going to have a little bit more work than I had to do, unfortunately.
I'm excited, though.
Because Forcing Fandoms Part 2, Dose, is going to be James Bond, right? So I love James Bond, and Lucas is like, whatever, it's okay. And there's a whole lot of it he doesn't know. So I'm going to have him watch some specific movies, 6 of them. In fact, one from each actor's tenure as the character. And I'm going to pick those out. And then at the end of the episode, this episode, I'll say what those are. So, if anybody's out there that cares,
I don't know what they are yet.
They can prepare and get excited or something. I don't know. Whatever. I've talked too long already. But
yeah, he does.
This, is really great, though, because it expands our horizons, right? It forces
fandoms.
It forces us to explore other fandoms.
Well, see, and that's good because one of the first-ish movie conversations I remember having with Brandon was that he didn't like Toy Story 3 and never saw a Toy Story 4 because Toy Story 4 was out by the time that I had started working at our place of employment.
Yes.
And anyway, since then, he had never seen it. I've always implored him to see it, regardless of my feelings toward the movie. And finally, it was his chance to watch it. And I'm glad because I needed to have this conversation. There's still some things I don't know. So we're just going to start off very, very briefly. I absolutely love Toy Story. There's only 2 franchises that like really give me like the absolute tingles and can make me cry upon nostalgic feeling. And that's obviously Harry Potter and Toy Story. Yeah, I saw the book at Meyer the other day and I was like, I didn't pull the trigger, but I'm gonna have to.
Harry Potter and Toy Story, right?
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to get it. But yeah, those are my 2 absolute favorites. Like Brandon said before, he's like, do you remember that one episode? I think it was the music one when you said, do you actually get chills because some people think it's a figure of speech?
Yeah.
No, it's not a figure of speech. Like I can just watch the opening for the first movie and tear up because I think of how great my childhood was now and how horrible my life is as a crusty old man. So I think that's I think that's where a lot of this stems from. But
Yeah.
I absolutely love Toy Story. I don't have a lot of my old relics anymore because I lost a lot in a flood, including this Woody doll that I have right here. There was mold on him. But
Oh
one
no.
thing that I managed to save still, which I'm sure is probably worth something, and I don't know if you've ever seen this before, and he still does work. I should have put batteries in him, and he does sound like Tim Hanks, though, not Jim Hanks. Have you ever seen this before?
No. Does it have a 101 Dalmatians belt on it?
It's cowhide,
Oh,
and then he has his gold pull string,
lovely.
and he
And
says,
it's a white hat.
"Yep," with the green bow on it, and he says, "There's a reindeer in my boot." I swear.
Are you kidding me?
I swear to God.
You have the like legit ones, right?
Yeah, they're right here.
Good.
So
Good.
this is, and it's just like the movie. If you look, it has the phrase. Fuck. It has the phrase right there that Woody reads.
Yeah.
Upside down, actually, he reads just like this. We're gonna get movie accurate. Again, see, Toy Story 1, 2, and then the first two Harry Potter movies are like the ones that I know frame for frame. By the way, love these movies, and this looks just
I
like.
love it.
And then I'd never put.
I
them
wish
on
they
because,
wouldn't put Toy Story on it though. I gotta be honest with you.
I know, but you're never gonna get away from that. But this is the original print of these toys. There's been like 4 different print runs of these with different color labels, but this is the only one that has the cloud original background. And the last I checked, these went for like 300 a piece. I think we talked about that. So these are like
we did. How much was that to begin with?
$50.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And on the side, you can actually put, you can see there's a perforation cut out there for the wings, but I never put them on there because I'm not going to ruin the box like that.
For sure.
There's that one. And then, of course, my favorite character is Woody. And I absolutely love this box. It's a perfect recreation, basically, of what the Prospector box was in Toy Story 2. So, and then for the back, they had to take some liberties and
of course, since you
make
don't
their
see
own.
it in the
So
movie.
it's really cool. And the voice
I
on this,
love
think,
that. 50
art style.
sayings.
Yeah.
No, I just love all of it, both of those figures. Because I got so used to, like, here's a little bit of a story, and I was thinking of this when I was watching the movies again. I was so naive to the collectibles of this series that I was like, oh yeah, I had a Woody when I was a kid, and I had a Buzz, and actually I didn't tell you this, but I had a Slinky dog as well.
I have Slinky sitting over there in a
that's
bin,
awesome.
Actually.
And there was a couple other things.
Mr. Potato Head, you had to.
I had a Mr. Potato Head. Yep.
Dude, get this. Oh, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
Just as far as Toy Story toys, even before, so by the time the second movie came, no, before the second movie, because I remember it wasn't out yet. I had legit, except for like Rocky Gibraltar and like the Troika things, I had and didn't have a Bo Peep. But other than that, I had every single toy of that. I even had a Mr. Mike that worked and had a cassette deck in it.
That's funny.
It was crazy. And the only green
That's
alien,
really cool, actually.
The green alien that I had was like a big one though. He was like this big and his head lit up.
I don't like that.
Goofy. Yeah, it was. The only small ones they had were like keychain size ones at the time. I even remember having a keychain size Slinky. I had so many toys for Toy Story.
How hard is it to make an alien this big?
I don't know. They eventually did with the Toy Story collection, that series that I showed you, the toy one. They had Jesse, Bullseye, the RC car. They had Rex. They had Lotso. They had like everything. And those toys went for like 50. I think the RC car was like $80 because that was like a bigger thing. But the Mr. Potato Head one, I think, goes for the most. The last I checked, he was like $500 or $600 in the box.
Really?
Yes. These, I obviously have opened them to take the batteries out because I don't want them to leak acid on it and ruin the toy. So yeah, it's open, but like some unopened ones go for quite a bit. Yeah, I don't want to fuck them up. So
I'm surprised because I got to be honest with you. So what I was going to say was I was like, hey, I had a Woody when I was a kid, and I was like, and it looked just like the movie. And then Lucas was like, are you talking about this one? And you pulled out the picture of the one I had, and I was like, I don't think so, but it had to be. It had to
That's
be.
all.
My
That's all
memory
that was
was
out.
just and it was God, it was bad. There's a picture of it.
Hmm.
It's oh man. Does it leave a lot to be desired? I haven't seen the Buzz one in a long time. I don't know how
The Buzz
accurate
one,
that one
the Buzz
was.
one looks better. It doesn't look perfect. If,
Okay.
if you know the intricacies of it and like the color, there's like
Sure.
hardly any purple and black on his suit. But other than that, it's good and the voice is fine for Buzz, actually.
Okay. Well, that's good. But what I was gonna say is that Mr. Potato Head, that's pretty accurate. There's not much more you're gonna be able to do with that.
Yes,
And
there
I
is.
can't imagine
I'll put the two
why.
side by side right here, and you'll be
Maybe
able to see the
just
difference.
texture or
No, it's texture, it's shape. It's shape mostly. He's also electronic. He talks and he has this
okay.
feature where if you scare him, all his pieces fly off and it's hilarious. So it
Okay, that
has
I like that.
some cool value to it.
How
But
do you
yeah, the
scare them?
just make a loud noise. It has like a microphone in
Seriously.
it. Yeah, like the Woody and Buzz have a microphone, and if you talk too loud, they'll like respond to you being too loud. And that's about it. Like the
Well,
Buzz
good
one's
thing
really
you took the
cool.
batteries out because they'd both be yelling at us. But
The Buzz one,
okay. Yeah.
oh god, I can make a whole episode on that, but I'm just gonna tell you that one is like has an interactive helmet, and then when you turn him on his toy mode, he looks around like with his head and he goes, "No readout, the air is breathing. I better keep my helmet closed." And when you open it up, he goes, he goes, "Are you crazy? My eyeballs could have been sucked from their socket."
The air isn't toxic. How dare you open a spaceman's helmet on an uncharted planet? My eyeballs could have been sucked from their sockets.
The toy says it, and like his wingtips light up the different colors, like in the movie. It's a
Yeah.
dope ass doll for $50.
Okay. Everything you're saying is worth the price of admission. So I had no idea. I
Oh,
had
for
no
yeah,
idea. There's
and
a
I
whole
got them.
world that I haven't seen.
So when those came out, they came out in 2000. I think it was maybe I want to say
Was
late
it
'08,
for
but that
Toy
wasn't
Story
it.
3?
Yeah, it was leading up to it. So they came out, and I think like the beginning part of 2009, and then they had
Okay.
them up until then, and then they re-released these for Toy Story 4 with slight, with a different logo, and they were Target exclusive, and I think they were
Yeah.
$100
I
when they
hate
sold them at
everything.
Target
Why didn't I like Toy Story this much in
in
2019?
2009.
Because I would have,
Oh,
well,
okay.
of course, but no, 2019 I would have went and bought them.
Oh my God.
Now I'm
Yeah,
angry.
I'm very happy that I did get them. And I remember at one point I was thinking like, dude, the prices on these are really soaring. I'm gonna make a huge return if I sell these, but I can't get rid of them. They're so
No,
perfect.
I
And
wouldn't want to
and
get rid
I'll
of
say
them.
the very last thing about these and why they look so good and how they're like scale
Yeah,
accurate.
yeah, yeah. Do they
Every
come
toy is
from the
scale accurate.
files?
Yes, that's what the paper is. They come from the Pixar digital data, and so they're the exact molds from the movies. Even
Yeah.
Woody's hat has like cloth threading through it on this doll, so it's like
It's actually sewed through.
yeah, it's like legit. And it doesn't say Andy on the bottom, so it's really cool. So it's your toy. I like it.
Yeah, that's good too.
It's
That's
how
good
you
too.
would have bought it if you were Andy.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
speaking
Yeah,
of which,
that's really
I think
interesting.
our great segue, we're going to have to talk about the first Toy Story. If you look
Yeah.
behind Brandon, that is the original VHS box art. And that's what I remember having the white clamshell of back in the 90s. The videotape that I've said before that I've ruined multiple copies of on
Yeah.
my
It's the one
VCR.
I had too that I couldn't find.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I have a bunch of the clamshells for everything else except that. And I was like, nobody
Pissed.
cares about the Grinch.
I remember having that on. Oh wait, was it the cartoon or the live action one on VHS?
Live action. But yeah, so
So for this movie in the clamshell,
yes, I watched so 1 through 4. 1 through 3 I've seen before. Like Lucas said, I've never seen 4, and I made notes on every movie. So I just want to say that. But so yeah, we'll start with the first one, right? Was there anything else you wanted to say about the clamshell?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. I didn't think so, but your face looked sad, so I couldn't tell. But the first one is absolutely the one that I have seen the most in my life. I would watch it when I was a kid. I would watch it almost every day. And so everything in it, I'm just like, yeah, like I remember so much of it. It's great. Surprisingly, it is the lowest rated Toy Story movie. Can you believe that? I don't know.
There are very few movies that I give a 10 out of 10 to, and Toy Story 1 is one of those movies. I don't find a flaw in that movie. I think it's one of the most perfect buddy movies of all time, because at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Yeah, like a buddy cop movie, kind of. Yeah, it's interesting because I don't really see flaws with it either, other than just things from that time period that just couldn't be escaped, which was just that CGI wasn't quite up to par.
I don't fault it for that, because I mean, I'm sure you know that it is the first full-length animated theatrical movie ever.
Correct. So exactly. So it can't be faulted for that. But that would be the only thing. If you had to, if somebody put a gun to your head and said, pick a flaw, any flaw, that would be it. Would just be that the kids look a little weird and the dog looks weird too. But other than that, I mean, I was saying to Lucas, I watched all 4 of these in 4K on disc. I made a point of that.
So I have to just stop very quickly, only to tell you and show you this, because again, when am I going to bring this up? This is from the 90s, before the internet was a relevant thing, before you could get your movie information, your YouTube videos of behind the scenes. We found out in magazines how they did things, or in books.
Okay.
This is a book of the making of the original Toy Story movie, all about from their concept art to its initial release. Some of the original pictures of Woody and Buzz are in here.
Yeah. Does it have Evil Woody in it?
Yeah, it does.
I like that.
I hope it does.
You would think so, but you would think it'd be the first thing they would have showed, because they scrapped that.
Oh, look, here's Andy with glasses. Oh, here's some of Woody. Let's see if you can see him.
Yeah,
Woody,
it doesn't look like the
of.
evil ones, though.
And here's where you can see they got pretty close to how he was going to finally look.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
the
and then the ones
I've seen, he looks like a legitimate villain, because he was going to be the villain.
Yeah.
He was like we have the dictator of the toys.
Here's Tempest from Morph, before Buzz was Buzz Lightyear. So some more stuff. Here he is in a fucking chicken suit. I don't know what that one was. That always stuck out to me as a kid as super bizarre.
It is bizarre.
And there's even some concept art of the toys all together as well. Let me try to find it. Oh, here's Evil Woody. Right here.
Is it okay? Okay, it's funny because when you put it up to the camera, the only thing it was regular Woody was the original Woody, and I was like, "Is this a joke? Should I laugh?"
See if there's anything else that's relevant in here. Wow, even here's some for Rex. Looks kind of like a weird Barney in that one.
It also just looks evil. Oh, that one's okay. Yeah, they probably that was probably a difficult one to not make look scary
right?
for
Oh my God, all the
children's.
stuff for Pizza Planet too. Wow, yeah. I just remember going through this book as a kid and just looking,
Yeah,
I
that's
not really
cool.
reading it, but yeah,
Are
it
there
was
are there alien concepts?
let me look through the three
The
little aliens.
claw.
Oh my God, dude, look at this concept art of Andy's mom. That is just the most 90s Disney shit I have ever seen. Look at Sid.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it looks like standard Disney animation for women. Um that Andy they had next to her though was weird.
Yeah.
Looks nothing like what they ended up with. That was the thing with the movie. Is that kids they all had a buzz cut for some
Mm-hmm.
reason. And I'm assuming it's because they didn't really know how to do hair. Like proper hair movement at that time.
There's your
Oh,
aliens.
okay.
They look
Yeah,
the same.
the same.
So
Interesting.
I want
I
to
would have
just
made a
one
whole
last thing. I want to
chapter
see
about this.
the publication date of this. I want to be sure when it came out. Actually,
1996.
no, 95, right when the movie came out.
Hmm.
So it had to coincide
That's-
the movie release. It's obviously it's beat up, seen better days, but
Yeah.
yeah, had this from childhood. So
Look at that
I figured.
lenticular cover. Oh yeah.
So
Oh
I
yeah.
figured I had to show that off. Anyway, so
That was awesome. Yes.
thank you.
That is the great things that I would never know of. But so this is a very funny movie. And it has little jokes in it that I've never caught before that I actually rewound and played again just to make sure that it was what I thought it was. And that was, and it's such a little innocent throwaway line, but it's Bo Peep saying to Woody, I'm just a couple blocks away. And it's just 3 blocks sitting there as she walks past these 3 blocks. And
I'm
I was
just
like,
a
that's
couple of
really
blocks
funny.
away.
You know, when I was a kid watching it, I assumed it was like blocks on a street, which is, you know, of course, that's the joke. But I rewound it to be like, is there blocks sitting there? And of course there is blocks sitting there. There's a moment in the movie as well where there is like a bit of like a time jump. It's like Andy like runs out of the room and then comes back, and I can't remember exactly what's going on with it, but the camera kind of like speeds up time a little bit, you know, like it's sort of showing like time has passed, you know, the camera's sitting stationary just pointed at the door, and the way that they have the camera move, like wobble, I thought was really cool. Because what they do, it's like they made it like a real movie. They could have made it absolutely perfect, and they could have made it where the camera was lined up exactly where it originally was, you know, because it's animation and you can put the camera wherever you want to put the camera, but it's moved a little bit, you know, like time skipped ahead and it moved a little bit, like it's, you know, like it's an error, like it's a filmmaking error, you know, that's how they made it seem. And I thought that was a cool little thing I noticed, because they certainly did not have to put that into the movie, but they did, you know, and I noticed it and I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, it's one of those little things that animation just does automatically now, but they were discovering what that meant, you know, at the time. They were creating this stuff for the first time. And I wish I could remember this specific moment, but it's like Andy playing, and then he like runs out of the room, and then time passes by, and then he runs back into the room.
What is it, before they go to Pizza Planet?
That, yeah, it's certainly before Pizza Planet. Yes. I just made a note about the camera moving for the time jump. I didn't write down specifically what was going on during that moment.
I thought you meant literally right before they go to Pizza Planet, where he runs in the room, runs out, and then Buzz is gone. Because remember, he goes in and he's like, "Have you seen my Buzz?" And he leaves. Buzz is gone.
I don't think so.
Okay. Anyway,
I don't think so.
What else did you say about the movie?
It's earlier in the movie, and it was just like a quick thing, but time passing by. You know what I mean, right?
Yes.
Like, like the sunlight moves a little bit, like it's showing that time has passed, and the camera starts off here, and then it goes like that. Yeah. And it didn't have to do that, but it was cool. We need to discuss the amount of locks on Sid's door. What is up with that?
Well, you see what's going on in there.
Why would any parent allow this? They're all on the inside.
I have to say,
and there's like 12 of them.
Yeah. As far as Sid's room is concerned, I love his posters.
It's the place of nightmares.
The posters are hilarious. I think it's like a Ozzy kind of knockoff poster, and it says Mega Dork, and it just always sticks out to me. I'll put a screen cap of it in there. There's also a lot of concept art of Sid's room in that book that I showed you as well. A lot of stuff in there. They really thought it out. Yeah, that's also a great part of the movie. It's like the hellish part of it. And I remember as a kid, I mean, who wasn't terrified of the claw baby head? Everybody was.
100%.
And I remember I did have a toy of that, but he was like really small version of it. It wasn't.
I
like
did too. I think it was like a Burger King toy.
Maybe it was. Maybe a like cheap Kmart toy or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sid's room, great place.
It's awesome. I love that. The misfit toys, that's what I called them, was the misfit toys in my notes. I love that they help out Woody and Buzz.
I think as far as the misfit toys go, and it's just the subtle one, but it's Roller Bob, was that his name? I don't know, the little rolling thing with the head on top with the arms, when he just rolls up to Woody and presses the flashlight.
Yeah,
and then he just grabs the pencil and holds on to it.
I love that. Yes.
So if you didn't know, I'm pretty sure his name is Roller Bob.
That's funny. Yeah. Yes, perfect. Watching it as soon as that part, and I remember liking it as a kid too.
Yeah.
As soon as he pushes the flashlight, I was like,
it's very fun.
It is.
And then Woody just crawls on top of Buzz's helmet as he's talking to Star Command. Mayday, Mayday, come in.
Yeah. It's it's awesome. I love that they're all nice and they all try to help each other out, and they're looking out for each other and stuff. And it's so weird that they're toys, so it shouldn't really matter. Sid is not harming any living creature, but they are living creatures, but he doesn't know that. So there's this weird like dichotomy where he's more of a monster than he even thinks he is. If he knew that he's actually harming something that is actually living, he might not do it, or he might. The kid seemed pretty evil, but then I kept thinking like he seems so evil, but he's really not doing anything wrong. He keeps blowing up his own toys in the backyard, but whatever, but it's funny because you watch and you're like, he's a villain, but then you're like, but he's not really doing anything wrong that he knows of. At least we know he's committing murder.
He just thinks he's an asshole and loves it. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's not even really a big deal though. You know what I mean? It's, we know it is as an audience, but he just is like, whatever. I don't know. I mean, it's not cool that he's stealing his sister's toys and blowing them up, but
or turning them into pterodactyl heads.
Right, exactly. Yeah, which
wait,
that's
what was
not
that?
Great.
Hold on, I just heard something. Oh, my Pop-Tarts are ready. I gotta go get them.
Yeah. Like, say your Pop-Tarts are ready. He's like, all right. Yeah.
And that's when Woody's forehead is on fire and puts in the bowl of
Yeah.
Fruit Loops. When Toy Story 3 came out, they made an action figure that had the Fruit Loops on the eyeballs.
Oh, really?
Pretty funny, yeah.
That is
But
funny.
last thing I'm going to say about Sid's Place before we give closing thoughts on the movie, I guess move on to the next one,
Yeah.
because the comedy is taken to a next level in the second movie for sure. I would say, in Sid's house, that scene when Woody and Buzz are sitting on the counter, and then Woody's under the milk crate, and Buzz is sitting there with the rocket on him.
Yeah.
That is so sad. It gives me goosebumps, man. When he's talking about how, like when Buzz realizes that he is a toy, and he's like, you know, I'm not a space ranger. I'm just a toy, a little insignificant toy. He's looking at the Taiwan shit. And Woody was like, you know, what would Andy ever want to do with a toy like me? You know, pulls a string, whatever. That was like probably the first emotional thing in Toy Story, I would say. Because like looking back at it as an adult, I don't know, that part really gets to me. And it's like, it's happening right in the beginning of, you know, the morning. It's all raining outside. And then the sun comes out and Buzz fucking knocks Woody off there with the toolkit on top of it.
Yeah.
Doesn't even wake up Sid until the alarm goes off. Wakes up Sid, by the way.
Right.
That has a baby arm is the
Yeah. I wish I
Minute hand
looked
or
at
whatever.
his posters in his room. That was one thing I didn't check out. But
like I said, I've just seen the movie so many times. Like it's just the little details I pick up on. But yeah, I absolutely
100%. There's two more things I have to say, and then we could go on to Toy Story 2. One is Sid's backyard is terrifying.
Yeah.
Even as an adult, I'm surprised they were able to get away with what they got away with the army men that have the nails through the head. I was like, I remember being a kid being disturbed by it. So, you know, and they're like walking like zombies, but it's awesome though that they all, you know, try to take Sid down. And then the ending is tense as a motherfucker.
Oh, we talking about the final chase scene?
Yeah.
And then it all culminates with
I was on the edge of my seat.
Buzz, you're flying. This isn't flying. This is falling with style.
Yeah.
He falls in the moonroof.
Yes, it was perfect. Yes, so perfect. Yeah, all of that was, it's just so tense. It's just one thing after the next. When you think it's going to work out, something gets screwed up. It's so good. And I've started to notice a pattern that all of the movies have a tense scene at the end. All of them do. So they're all like using that same blueprint of the first one, but the first one does it best, in my opinion. And it's it was just really cool. And Mr. Potato Head and Ham are idiots. They're assholes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love when they're playing Battleship together for pieces of Mr. Potato Head. He's just wearing the hat all the time.
Yeah. And it's like, all right. And he goes in, he's like, nope, not in here. I want the nose, right?
And then he pulls the nose off. Son of a building block. It's Woody. He's right across the street. Oh my God.
That's good.
So funny. I'm glad you mentioned the ending though, because that's what I was going to mention was falling with style. Right there in the back. So
yes,
absolutely
notable moment.
So good. So
it was very good.
Now we're gonna move on to Toy Story 2. This is the first. I honestly don't think I saw the first Toy Story in theaters. That's just something I always remember having on VHS growing up. But this one I did see in theaters. I remember seeing it in theaters because I got the doll in Disney World that year.
Yeah.
This ruined flooded photo. Thank God this one remained. So yeah. So very.
It was 4 years later.
So yeah, it was 4 years after the first movie. The other two take a 10-year gap in between. We'll see that consistently with those
10 and then 9.
Was it? No, it was 2009 and 2019.
2010 and 2019.
No, Toy Story 2 came out in 2009, or Toy Story 3 came out in 2009.
2010.
No, it did not. It did not. There's no way. It was 2009. It was 2009.
2010.
No, it was not. It was not.
2010. Can you see it?
Why the fuck did I think 2009 this whole time?
I don't know.
Well, that's terrible. Anyway, Toy Story 2. We're going to talk about this one. I remember seeing this in theaters, and I don't really remember too much about it in theaters. I remember the ending pretty clearly, like the whole airplane thing and like them sitting in the bedroom after singing "You Got a Friend in Me." But other than that, I don't remember the theater going experience too much. But,
so now, actually, I don't want to cut you off, but now I'm trying
good.
to think about this. So actually, it was 11 years and then 9 years.
Okay.
11 and
For a
then
total
9.
of 20.
Correct.
Number 9.
Number 9. Number 9. Number 9. 2010 was a pretty terrible year for me. So that was I don't know. I would like to say that changed my opinion of 3, but as we found out that it didn't. But anyway, we're not talking about.
No, I think you're just holding on to feelings. 2. So Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2, I mean, I guess I like these movies in order that they came out. First one's the best. I think the second one is the second best. This movie is, as we mentioned at work, actually has a villain to drive the plot forward. In this one, as opposed to the first one, which is just really a buddy movie and kind of their progression together and getting back home, basically.
Yeah, like I said, it's geography is the villain because they have gotten separated from Andy. I don't think that's really philosophical. It's just that's just the villain of the movie. It's also the villain of the second movie, and the third, movie.
and the
fourth movie. But there's also secondary villains.
Yes. So the movie starts off with a bang. We get to see the Buzz Lightyear video game that is being played on a Super Nintendo, by the way.
I know. I have some issues with that.
Which has
not enough to make a note, but I was like, those graphics. Those are some PS5 graphics right there.
Yeah, that always stuck out to me because I'm like, really? Super Nintendo? I played the Super Nintendo. It doesn't look like that. I always thought that as a kid.
No.
And he has, I'm pretty sure the buttons on it are the European one with the colors on it. It's not our purple Super Nintendo
controller. It is a color one, yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny that Rex is playing it and his hands can't reach, blah blah blah. And I like, and that's actually started off. Well, I guess the fourth one doesn't start off with an imaginative sequence as the third one does. So those two in the middle start off with an imaginative, fun little sequence that lead into the movie.
Right.
I have to say this about this movie. I think the aspect of making Woody a valuable collector's piece that is to be sold off is probably a stroke of genius that if you put a gun to my head and had me come up with an impressive Toy Story storyline, I don't think I could have ever thought of that. And the fact that these dolls want to be preserved in this museum and that the prospector has lied to them because he was hurt as a younger doll, basically, during the 50s space craze, and that's why he has this hatred toward Buzz, actually. I think that's really awesome. Yeah. And I like that they've convinced Woody to do it because as we've seen in the series, Woody he's kind of a dick. He's a little egotistical, and he has an importance factor about him, and when he sees that giant cutout of himself and all of the collectibles in Al's apartment, and he realizes what he is, and he sees the TV show, it all goes to his head, and then he's convinced he wants to be a collector. And then when Buzz just sits him down, he's like, "You want to be behind glass, never loved again? Some life." Perfect. Because everything that he taught him in the first movie, Buzz learned and used to find him in this one. So I love it. It's another great buddy movie. It's a great progression.
I love watching. I love the part where Woody's watching the TV show, and he's like, just like in tranced basically in this show, which is really janky. And I loved it, like where the animals are like, "We gotta go find Woody," and then they go and they move, and
what's
it like
that?
knocks over one of the
Trapped in
trees.
abandoned mine. The prospector looks like a dynamite, and they're about to be blown to smithereens.
yeah. It's really funny. And actually, I rewound it too and replayed that part to make sure that when the animals move, they did in fact knock over one of the cardboard trees, and they do. It's so janky. Yeah, no, it's like, so they make it purposely so obvious because they're on strings and the string gets wrapped around one of the trees and pulls it over. Which
and
is,
of course,
just
it's obviously all
awesome.
done by a computer, so it's done intentionally with care. So
correct.
What was I going to say about that part? Damn it, I lost my train of thought, and it was about this movie. It was really important, and I didn't want to cut you off, but I didn't cut you off. And I forgot what I was going to say. Damn it. Oh, no, I remember. So you watched the movie on the newest 4K release, correct?
Yes.
You actually have an edited copy of Toy Story 2.
Okay.
You have two things removed from the movie. The scene when they're watching the Woody's Roundup, and then where, you know, like, this concludes our broadcast day, and it plays a national anthem with the American flag. I like how I went to go put my hand over my heart as I said that. Those patriotic,
very patriotic,
Old Navy 4th of July wearing mother truck. Anyway, that is edited out of that version. It's just like a generic kind of flag with like a generic tune, I believe, in the background. And then the scene at the end when the prospector has the Barbies in the box, he's like, "Oh, I'm sure I get you a part in Toy Story 3." That's not in your version either. That's cut out.
Not.
Yeah, this is right. It's still in this version. So I have kept my Blu-ray releases because that's funny. Technically edited.
The national anthem, I think, is in it.
But the flag I know is different.
The flag, I believe, is different. Yes.
They use a more universal one for that.
Yeah,
release.
It's just a random flag, like that has just stars on it, or what I think. But yes, the Toy Story 3 line, no, that is gone.
And that's and I
which
think,
it should be.
Mention anything else you want to say, like plot device. Obviously, the scene when Woody gets cleaned is awesome. Everyone loves it. Blah blah blah.
You
know. I
have a bunch. So Woody's from the 50s.
Yeah.
And Andy's mom says he's the family heirloom. Why does Woody not remember his previous owners? Oblivion! He must have had previous owners.
I don't know. Maybe as we see in Toy Story 4, there's some things that are broken in the toy lore. Maybe when they get past, oh God, well, it doesn't make sense. I was going to say, maybe get past to a new owner, you don't have a remembrance. But then there's the whole Andy with Bonnie, so it doesn't make any sense.
He still remembers Andy when he's talking to Forky.
So I corrected myself very quickly.
But also, and we'll get to this when we get to Toy Story 4, the lore is broken immediately with Bo Peep. She's not a toy.
I know, she's a lamp.
And she hasn't been a toy since the first movie. So that she's always been a lamp. So that your idea of the lore being broken down with the fourth movie, that was just immediately part of the lore from the very first movie.
Well, we'll get to I actually when I rewatched 4 last night, I found out
you liked it. I know you liked it.
Okay, just listen. And have you not noticed the theme? If I think something isn't as good as the one before, I'm just going to say it sucks. Have you not noticed that? Just because I give the movie when I first, we'll say that for 4. We'll say that for 4.
Yes.
So, okay. Say what you want about 2, and then I'll piggyback off and I'll give I have a lot to say about the comedy of 2. So I don't know if you do either.
Little bit.
Okay.
But, I noticed
that you talk
in the first movie, and it continues on until Woody gets cleaned. He's dirty.
Yeah.
I've never noticed that before. His clothes are dirty and he has scrapes on his face, which is really awesome because it shows that he's been well loved and played with. And Buzz is dirty in the second one too.
Yeah.
I made a note of that they're dirty. I've never noticed that before. That blew my mind.
Well, the
Um,
CG from 1 to 2 is just absolutely mind blowing what they're able to accomplish.
It's definitely an improvement, but in the first movie, you can see that Woody is dirty in that
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
you can on the mostly on the
Um,
vest if you look on the
I was
shots from
noticing
his back.
in particular on the face.
Okay,
I kept looking
or
at his
like
face.
toward the cheek, there might be a scuff.
Yes, there's
Yeah,
scrapes.
like by the yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy to me. And he has like his clothes have like dirt smudges and stuff on them. How many people did they kill crossing that road? My God.
If that was a real wreck, think of that happening on, I'm not going to say the street name. I'm going to say directly in front of our place of employment. We just see the little toys walking across, and then you just see the giant, I'm not a construction worker. The giant cylindrical concrete pipe rolling down with the gum sticking to it. Mr. Potato Head's foot.
Yeah, he just messes up.
God. Right? Like you thought Scud caused a problem in the streets of the first movie when he got cornered in with all those cars in the circle. Scud ain't got nothing on these guys in Toy Story 2.
No, that's funny.
And then the funniest part of that is at the very end when Mr. Potato Head, that cynical asshole played by Don Rickles, the late Don Rickles, goes, that went well.
Ah, that went well.
Yeah, like he has no idea. It seemed easy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was insane. I had to make a note of that. Why is there so many cheese puffs on the ground when Woody's
that was a
over?
whole bag, not a bowl.
That was more than even just a bag. That was so many.
So even as a kid, the texture of the cheese puffs themselves, the texture of the dust on his fingers combined with Bullseye even having texture on his tongue, even as a kid, that stuck out to me of how good that looked. You could see every thread of Woody's arm when he reached for his other arm out of Al's pocket.
Yeah.
Even like down to like Al's nasty facial hair, nose hair. Everything is there. You know, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's good.
Even though the humans still weren't perfected by that point, they still look leaps and bounds better than they did in the first movie.
But yes, much more so. It's that is the biggest change from the first one to the second one, are the humans, in particular kids. Let's see here. So it might just be a joke, like that he drops the shit on the ground constantly. So, and he never cleans up. So it's just been days and days and weeks of cheese puffs that are laying on the ground. That might be the deal.
I don't think so, because when he walked in the apartment, it was pretty damn clean when he saw the whole Woody's Roundup memorabilia. And then during...
Yeah, but you weren't seeing around the couch, though.
Oh, I also have to mention, if we're going to talk about Al's place again, I absolutely love that little argument between Jesse and Woody about turning the TV on.
Like when the prospector actually does it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're talking about. Oh yeah.
And then I like at the end of the movie when he has his pickaxe and he turned off the TV with the remote.
Yes, yeah. In that moment, you know immediately. It was very simple but very effective. You know immediately that he was the one responsible. Kelsey Grammer was a great call for that part.
Oh, so good.
So I have to mention Jesse's story about Emily. Now, that was the closest that I ever came to getting probably choked up through these entire 4 movies.
Nothing else did?
No. But that was awful because it has that song, and she is so. What did it for me was how happy she was when she was laying next to her again in the car when she's an adult, and she's just laying there and she's just like smiling, so happy. That killed me. Literally, I'm dead now. I was like, I don't like this. I want this removed from the movie. But I did like it. It was heartbreaking. And she just leaves him in a box at the side of the road with the donation. Oh man. Okay, so that one was a hard one. The Star Wars reference was flawless
with Zurg.
Zurg, yeah. Like, you killed my father. No,
No,
I am your father.
And then at the end,
You killed my father!
No, Buzz. I am your father.
and when he the two things about that, and again the comedy, when he was like, hey Buzz, are you coming? No, I think I'm gonna spend some quality time with my dad.
Yes.
And he shoots a go long Buzzy.
Good job, son.
And then when
That
he
was
falls
funny.
off the elevator shaft and he looks down, father.
Yes,
pretty
yes,
funny.
that was so good. Yes,
Oh my
Buzz was in particularly good.
A utility belt
in
Buzz?
this movie. All Buzz, but I love the utility belt Buzz too.
One quick thing. So the toy that I have, they release a utility belt version of that.
Oh man,
Goes for $800. It's so
good,
expensive, and I'm so mad I never bought it, but they have it. And
Yeah,
it goes.
I
for
wouldn't
big bucks.
honestly if I had them back in the day. They're both $50.
You would have bought utility belt.
I don't think I would have. No, I think I would have done what you did.
You have to get the one from the movie. Why would you want that one?
But in perspective, I would want the utility belt one because he's so ridiculous.
Oh, he's so funny.
He has all these tools that are in there.
And then,
Oh,
oh
it's
my
so
God,
good.
when he
And
pulls
Buzz,
Tim Allen's arms behind his back, when he pulls his arm behind his back, and then he just goes, "Was I really this deluded? No back talk, Space Ranger."
Tell me I wasn't this deluded. No back talk.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Oh, yeah, it's
funny.
great. It's great.
Or
Tim
then at the
Allen
end-
is
I'm sorry.
you're good. I just have to say Tim Allen is a master of working with himself. But yes.
Yeah. When he just goes, when they're at the end and they're in the little air dog thing, and he goes, "Buzz, yes, yes.
Buzz! Yes, yes.
Are you coming?" All
Yeah,
of the Buzz stuff
I
is
loved
hilarious.
all of that stuff.
And
Yeah.
then when Barbie was going around the lot as a tour guide, and she was like,
Yes!
back in 1995, short-sighted retailers couldn't get enough dolls to meet demand.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah,
'Cause
that
it's
was funny.
true. Think
Yes.
for the original Woody and Buzz sold out instantly. They didn't know it was
I'm-
going to be a hit.
I'm sure they did. I also
speaking
just
of
love though,
that-
like, hi, I'm tour guide Barbie.
Oh, it's because she is the tour guide Barbie, and then
Yeah.
fucking Mr. Potato Head. But I'm in marriage. But I'm in marriage. Make room for the single fella, and him just
Yeah,
plops up there. How great!
yeah,
And
that was
that's
funny.
the thing about this movie too. So we'll just segue into that. The comedy is nonstop. It's so adult oriented, not just in like a sexual innuendo kind of way, which there are.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's humor that you have to be older to understand, like the short-sighted retailer comment, for example. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because
Which
it
was good.
coincides with the first movie and things
Yeah.
like that. But the comedy I think really shines through in the blooper reel at the end, because all of it is just like gut-bustingly funny. Like I don't know of who came up with the idea of having, an animated gag reel, because again, let's animate a movie, you got to make it, but it's hilarious. They have the sound clap at the beginning and everything, and they have the producers getting angry in the background because Buzz is farting and everything in the box after eating a bean burrito.
Yeah.
But the best one was when or I guess it's in the movie, but they do like 5 gags on it at the end of it. But when Jesse does the loop-de-loop thing that Buzz did in the original movie, and his wings pop out like he got a fucking boner. As an adult, when I watched that,
I
I
know.
laughed so
It's
hard.
funny. Don't get me wrong. It's funny. I don't know how they got away with it though, because that was.
Is that in the version you have?
It's in the
Okay.
movie. It's simply in the movie.
Okay, I don't know if
It's
they
not in the
cut that
gag
out
reel.
or some shit.
No, you would think so though. It's just the end of the movie. Like that's how it
Oh
ends.
my
and
God.
then it goes into the credits,
Hilarious.
and then there's the gag reel. But yes, that was one that stuck out to me. And the guys in the car when they see the Barbies and they're all like, "Hey, ladies," like that
Uh-huh.
kind of thing. I was like, that kind of pushes it a little bit too.
Uh-huh.
But it's funny. I do remember the prospector line though,
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, I remember that part. But
So there's like 2 Barbies in the box with him, and he's holding one of their hands and rubbing it with his thumb as he's saying, "I'm sure I can get you part in Toy Story 3." Then the producer's recording it, whatever, and he goes, "Oh, is this recorded?" They turns around, they leave the box, and as he leaves the box, his eyes trail down toward their ass.
Yeah, it's good they got rid of that. I'm not a big fan of censorship, but that it has the whole casting couch implications of it, and as we have discovered that was going on in Hollywood.
Well, I guess it's kind of fucked up too, because John Lasseter did direct that movie. Didn't he not have a problem?
Did he?
Yeah, well, he had, they gave him like a forced sabbatical because some people said some shit about him.
Oh, I had no idea.
Look it up after this. I don't remember it exactly what it was, but yeah, there was definitely.
Because that would be very interesting though. The last thing I have to say about this movie is the musical score is very different.
It's much more jovial, it's jaunty.
I don't know if I like it. I was actually
it kind of sets the tone for the music for the rest of the series, really.
Yeah, in like a bad way though, in my opinion. The fourth one, again, we'll get back to the fourth one. The fourth one has the closest music to the first one.
It's funny you say that, because the fourth one reuses so much music from the third one. It's insane.
I don't know. I feel differently about it, but the first one though has everything is perfect about that movie, including the score. The second one, I was shocked that Randy Newman did the score for the second one, because there's not a single Randy Newman sing song.
I was gonna say there's no songs other than the original ones, like what, Woody's Roundup. Woody's Roundup.
Yeah,
right
but
every day.
But it's not him singing it.
Woody's Roundup. Come on, it's time to play.
I want the "You got a friend in me." You got a friend in me.
Because again, let's have a counter of when Lucas says, "When am I ever going to say this again?" When am I ever going to say this again? There's a song.
Spoiler alert. Probably tomorrow.
There's a song by Randy Newman.
Yeah.
It goes, short people ain't got no reason to live. And I'm just like, wait, they got funny little hands and funny little feet. And I'm just like, Randy.
Cancel Randy Newman.
Are you looking it up?
Hashtag, no, I'm just looking down at my notes, but hashtag cancel Randy Newman.
I mean, I don't care personally, but Randy Newman, that's what I want to see from the Randy Newman soundtrack.
Yeah. Well, even in the second movie, when they sang "You Got a Friend in Me," it's not him singing.
It's Wheezy with his his big band Frank Sinatra sounding voice.
Yeah.
You got weird. A friend in me.
I mean, like, let's get it out of the way right now. Randy Newman was a composer for all 4 movies.
Yeah.
You would never know that, though, to be honest with you. I mean, I was convinced. I was like, my note here, like what it ended up saying was the musical score is incredibly
different. Who did
different
it for the rest of the other movies? ...
I'm actually shocked it was still Randy Newman. What I originally wrote as my note was Randy Newman is sorely missed. That's what I originally wrote. That was my note.
I love it.
Well, I had no idea until the credits came in. I watched the credits, which, side note, Steve Jobs is not credited in the second movie at all. He's credited in the first one. I don't know why he wasn't credited for the second movie, because he was still very much connected to Pixar. And it's weird to me.
Before we finish, the last Randy Newman statement that I'm gonna make.
Randy Stewman is even weirder.
his evil twin brother.
Yeah.
Who did the score for the rest of the movie.
He's be like, short people better be killed. Like, it just gets slightly darker.
It's
all his songs, but they're just a little bit darker.
In Toy Story 3 that he does sing and use his own voice, and it's called We Belong Together, and it's at the end.
I don't care 'cause I do.
Yeah. Okay. So
God.
I think we're done with Toy Story 2.
Yeah,
It's
so-
awesome.
So we're gonna move on to Toy Story 3.
Yes.
You can see this poster over here, and as you've seen from our theatrical experiences, it was my favorite theatrical experience. The movie, I guess, came out in 2010. I thought it was my second year of high school that it came out, but I guess I'm completely wrong. As
So
I
is
am
your
in a lot of
third?
things. It had to have been then, because I had it all wrong. So
Yeah, I wasn't in
Story-
high school anymore.
okay, so
was
then
a
that's
year
the
out.
timeline. So here is Toy Story 3. This is one of the, actually I just want to show this off. So do you remember this, Brandon? Of course you do. The kids don't remember this, but this is what your digital copy of your movies used to look like back in the day.
Oh
Remember
my
when
god,
they used to come on discs?
They don't even work anymore.
Nope.
If you try to make them work,
They don't work.
no.
But,
I have a
and it-
Hitman
okay.
Blu-ray that has that disc. Like,
yeah, you're better off playing those games than watching the movie for Hitman. But
I like the first movie.
okay, that's fine, totally fine. Forcing fandoms.
Yeah.
So Brandon and I are this is where we this is the last half of the franchise is where we completely take a turn for both of us here, because
Yeah.
I think that this movie is fantastic. I think at the end of Toy Story 2, when Buzz and Woody are watching Andy play with Molly, and Buster's running around, and he goes, "Are you worried about it?" And he's like, "No, it'll be fun while it lasts."
It'll be fun while it
This
lasts.
Yeah.
is exactly what happened after they had the fun while it lasted. As good as Toy Story 1 and 2 were, even myself, I never was clamoring for a sequel for those movies. I don't know if you felt that way, but I was so satisfied with how good they were that I would have been happy without another one.
I was satisfied with the first one, to be honest with you. When the second
Yeah.
one came out, I was a little bit older.
Really?
And even that
Yeah.
I wasn't super psyched about.
Okay. Then this is why we have different opinions of the franchise, because I was totally stoked from day one. And then when they announced Toy Story 3, I remember thinking to myself, I hope they don't fuck this up. I mean, and then I saw the plot I read the plot for it, and then the first teaser came out, and the first teaser was not very promising. But the actual theatrical trailer alleviated a lot of my thoughts on it.
Okay.
But I didn't go in expecting to love it, though. I expected going in for it to meet my expectations at the time, because the first two are so perfect. I didn't think that the third one could even come close to it. And where I say that the first two movies are 10 out of 10 for me, Toy Story 3 straddles that line of like 9.5. To where I think it's damn good. Was it necessary? No, not at all. But I think it was a complete natural progression of what would happen to these toys. They're sitting in a toy box forever. That toy box now has stickers plastered all over it. That room that had stars in it is now covered up from posters, and then eventually it has moving boxes, and he's getting ready to go. I was in high school at the time, getting ready to go to college. I moved out. We all know what happened with that. And the movie just really struck a chord with me at the time. It was the perfect progression from my childhood into my early adulthood, lined up amazingly. The way the movie starts, I'm an actual huge fan of that. I think, like you said, you had your reservations against the graphics of the beginning of Toy Story 2, but this was a culmination of all the good playtime moments between the toys, with Andy specifically.
Except no Bo Peep.
Yeah, but whatever. Are we talking about where she's dangled from Toy Story 2 over the line?
It doesn't matter. She was always like the
damsel in distress.
Yes, thank you. My God. She was always the damsel in distress, so she should have been in it. But I guess I tried to look it up online why she wasn't featured in this movie, except for just sitting there
that
silent.
throwaway line.
And it was like let's see here. And so I was like, I am so annoyed that I can't think of Annie Potts, right? So
Okay.
I was like, did Annie Potts, was she just unable to do the movie? And it said nothing about that. I don't even think she was asked. So that was a little surprising to me, but continue.
So I do love that. It was the grandiose version of all
Yeah,
of it. It was cool to
it's
see it in
good.
perspective. So this one I saw with my friend, like I said, a week early, and then
Yeah.
with the other ones I'd seen him with, my parents. My dad is a big Toy Story fan. He thinks they're really
Okay.
good, except for the fourth one. He doesn't like that one either. Go figure. And he doesn't even like the
Doesn't
third
that
one.
show that it's good then?
No, he doesn't like this one either. But
Oh, well.
when don't say it. Then.
Well,
So-
all I was thinking immediately, and this ties in with what we'll be doing, Lucas's dad hates Daniel Craig's James Bond.
Only based on
And-
the fact that it
and
wasn't the
he
one he
is
grew up with.
Hands down the most popular iteration of the character ever.
Yeah, I did watch.
Ever.
I did watch the first Craig movie, Quantum of Solace, and I thought that was really entertaining. That's not the first one, right? Did I say the wrong one?
Casino Royale.
Oops. I looked over at the box art and read the wrong one.
Quantum of Solace is the second one.
Oh, that's the one I haven't watched. The one that Brandon said was terrible.
It's trash.
Trash.
Trash. Anyway, where are we going with this one? Oh, my dad, who hates this movie, thinks that the opening was actually really good because all the references, specifically the one that had me laugh out loud was when Woody was like, well, I brought my dinosaur that eats force field dogs, but Slinky was the force field. He had the thing when he bit his tail. It was beautifully done. Rex was huge. And then there was the barrel of monkeys in there. Ham was I don't know. It just worked out. I love the opening for that. And then how it transitioned to like him actually playing with them as the home movie. And then it goes to You Got a Friend in Me. How does that not make you cry? Do you not have a soul? Did you not do the same thing with these toys as a kid? What's wrong with you?
I don't know. It didn't affect me.
So from the start of the movie, I'm sitting there crying like a baby. It just hit me right. I don't know, right in
Maybe if I
nostalgia
saw it
feels.
in theaters, it would be different, but certainly
dude,
now
because
I'm
the
like,
audience, I mean, there obviously was kids there, but there was so many like teenagers and young adults. So I got to see it with people who grew up with it. So it was a really great experience in the theaters. Everybody was laughing and crying over this fucking movie. So I guess then we'll get to the crux of the movie. Like I said, it's a real natural progression. It's exactly what would happen. And then what happens? Of course, Andy decides to take Woody to college. I did the same thing, actually. I brought Woody. Don't look at me like that.
oh God.
I grew up with this a lot harder than you did, apparently. So
I really only had the first one.
you're crazy, man.
The first one was the one that I watched all the time. The second one I watched occasionally, but I never owned it until Blu-ray. So
All right, well, that explains why I think you're crazy. Maybe I don't know. What else am I going to say about this movie? I mean, I think everybody at this point knows the plot of it. I mean, what else is there really to talk about plot wise?
yeah,
I think the characters in this movie are pretty good. Ken has to be the standout one, of course. I think Michael Keaton was a bang up choice. Very entertaining. I don't know.
I wish there was more of them though. In my mind, there was more of them, and when I went and rewatched it, I was surprised at how little he was in it. Because he was such a big part, from what I remember, at least, of the TV spots when the movie came out. So there was a lot of Ken-centric TV spots with him being very, very flamboyant. And in the actual movie, it was like, well, that was just all taken from just one scene. unfortunately, which is when he was
There's a
first
few.
introduced. I mean, he's in a couple scenes, but I mean his first scene where he comes out of his house and then down the elevator, and then later on they would take some stuff from like the his closet, where Barbie ends up tying him up in the closet
with a
but
freaking paddle ball. So funny.
yeah, so it was just really just those two moments, but they were making it like Ken was like such a big part of the movie, and I think he should have been, especially with it being Michael Keaton voicing him. The scenes with him were funny when he's not being evil, at least. It's funny, and I just would have liked more. If people haven't guessed it already, or you haven't seen previous episodes where we mentioned Toy Story 3, Lucas obviously loves it. I have always Lucas says I hate it. I don't hate it. I just always thought it was okay. But when you're comparing that to the first one, which I think is perfect, and the second one, which I think is great, this to just think one is just okay is a pretty significant difference. And I thought for sure, like I'm older now. I'm no longer like, in that 2010 mindset. And I'm gonna go rewatch it. And I was like, I bet I'm gonna love it. And I felt exactly the same way about it that I thought initially, and all the same things bothered me about it. So I have to say this, and this is a me problem.
Okay.
When it comes to one issue with the movie that I have with it, and that is I don't like change. I never have, never will, hate change. They had a system for these Toy Story movies, a system that worked, and that was Andy is a kid and he has these toys, and traditionally he loses them. And what ends up happening is it's like the Monsters University effect. Why was Monsters Inc. so great? Because of the character of Boo. It's obviously the monsters themselves are cool and they're funny and they're entertaining, but Boo is the glue that holds it together. For this series, Andy is the glue that holds this together, and they got rid of him. And I don't like that. So not only do they get rid of the character of Andy, they decide to add, bring real time into it, which this is the one and only movie that brought real time into it. Toy Story 2 takes place not 4 years after the first one, takes place 5 minutes after the first one, like it takes place immediately. Yep. Toy Story 4 takes place 5 minutes after the third one, so this is the only one that decided to jump ahead this far. And there's nothing wrong with that, other than the fact that I just don't like that decision. Like, I wasn't a big fan of that decision. And
well, I think it's awesome because it happened in actual real time, like legitimately real time. It was, 11 years after the fact, which was perfect because if you did see it in the theaters and you were hyped for it, it was your reality at the time. So when I say that 3 seems like a natural progression, it just is. That it gives Woody that last ditch attempt to prove that, all right, fine, maybe we are washed up old toys and it's time to think about it. Of course he wants to stay in the attic. Of course he wants to stay with Andy, the glue that holds everything together. And then obviously there's the mix up where they're supposed to go in the attic and mom thinks it's trash, throws them away. Woody saves them. Oh, it's time to get back to Andy. Wake up, Andy is all grown up. And it just totally makes sense as to how all the toys could be starry-eyed to be played with again after being in retirement for 11 years. Right. I just think it worked. And not only do I think it worked, they ended it perfectly. I we'll get to the ending as we go on and the progression toward 4. But yeah, I mean, I do have some issues with the movie here and there, but as a whole, I think it keeps the core of every character as like a last hurrah kind of movie is how I looked at it, because that's how this movie this really does tie into my thoughts for 4. So maybe I should save that toward the end. I think maybe you should just continue.
So that is the first
your
issue
notes.
that I immediately have with it, is the fact that they decided to change up the formula and make it so Andy, it doesn't really matter anymore. And you were starting college in 2010, I guess, or about to.
Yeah.
And I was already in college by that point. And all I would hear from my friend Anthony, shout out to Anthony, was how great this movie was, you know. And then I would hear from other people how great this movie was, and it's just great, it's so great, it's so great, it's the best movie ever, blah blah blah. And so I go and see it and I'm like, this is not the best movie ever, you know. So maybe that kind of ruined it for me. Was people overhyped it, you know. Maybe if somebody came along and they were like, it's okay, and then I went and saw it and I'm like, okay, well, I can get on board with this, you know. But people kept saying it was so great, and I'm like, are we watching the same movie? And the fact that so it's time, baby, time to talk about Lotso. And I cannot stand that character. You want to do a villain? Do a villain like Sid, or do a villain like the Prospector, or do a villain like Gabby. Don't do a villain that is just pure evil, because that's what he is. He's just pure evil. There's no redeemable qualities of him. All the other villains have redeemable qualities. He does not. He went as far, and like, you don't even feel good about it. Like at the end, like he doesn't get his comeuppance, and you're like, okay, now everything's good now. Like, he fucked up. Sorry, excuse my language, but he screwed up the life of Big Baby and lied to Big Baby when Big Baby could have been living the rest of his life with their child. You know, like, he literally, because he was replaced, he ruined the lives of other toys. Like, he is pure evil.
What a human element that they added to this villain.
I don't like it.
And I think it totally works in that respect. Because there is nothing like Lotso in Toy Story. And I have to say that's one of my issues, is at the very, very, very end, when Sheriff, the button, he goes and hits the stop button. He looks out and he goes, "Where's the kid now, Sheriff?" And then he just little feet carry him away. That I've always despised that part. But then, but it sets it up for the most nail-biting, tense, sad scene in Toy Story history.
Him and
multiple times, basically.
And then he just turns around and backstabs them. He's gonna murder them. He's gonna literally murder them. And the only reason he's still alive is because of them.
Yeah, it just goes to show the altruistic nature of these toys. I think it just makes them even better. Really, it's good to have that antithesis of it.
If I want to watch a movie with somebody who's evil in it, I'll watch a James Bond movie. I'll watch, some action movie or something like that. I watch a Toy Story movie to feel good, to feel happy. And this movie doesn't do either of those things for me, for the most part. There are exceptions.
Very interesting.
And it's just, it makes me depressed because Andy is older and is giving up his toys. Basically, they're going to the attic, but he's basically, for all intents and purposes, giving them up. That is like, I'm trying to think of a word for it, but it's like emotion baiting. Like they know how you're gonna feel about that, and so they're gonna put that into the movie because they know you're not gonna like it. And so that depresses me. And then I'm depressed watching the movie, and then all of a sudden now I'm just angered by this character of Lotso Huggin Bear. And the thing is too that I thought about it hard. Like I'm like, okay, so there's the Monsters University thing. They got rid of Boo or any other child, and that movie blows, and that is probably a big reason that it blows. And with this, it evokes the feeling of the movie version of Order of the Phoenix to me. Now I say that because of Umbridge. So the character of Lotso is basically the same type of character that Umbridge is. And I hate Umbridge. I mean, I certainly hated Umbridge reading the book, but at least, you know, in the book, she gets more of a comeuppance. Once again, apparently what I care about is comeuppance for evil characters. So, you know, the book is longer, it has longer to breathe and to expand and all this kind of stuff. In the movie of Order of the Phoenix, which we've talked about this before, I'm not a huge fan of the movie. It just shoves you right into the badness, to the badness right away. And Umbridge is a monster right away.
You have to at least admit with Lotso's character, there's a progression to where you see that evil. Yeah, he's always evil from the time you see him till the time he gets tied to the front of that truck. But they reveal it in a very tastefully done way. I think the timing of the reveal is really good. And when Chuckles tells the story, I mean, it all comes together and makes sense, I guess. And then when Woody does bring, you know, the plastic locket, and then it all comes to fruition, and then everything hits the fan proverbially at the daycare. I think it all worked. I think it was cool to have another prospector type. I mean, I guess the comeuppance is being played with as a Barbie.
Near as bad.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right, but
other than the fact that he's raping Barbies, apparently, but
that cut out, of course. But he's a self-centered prick. I mean, he didn't care about Buzz Lightyear and Slinky and everybody else. They could all die in the terminal for all he cared. So he's a piece of shit too. So I mean,
but it's a
very
strange though.
And
it's being bad versus being evil. And he's just evil. Like there's no redeemable qualities about him, and there's no time where for any long period of time that he's actually like a good, you know, that he's even has the facade of being good. He seems good at first when he's introducing them all, you know, like this is Big Baby and you're gonna be here in the caterpillar room, you know, like all that trash. All that was fine. I was like, okay, cool, you know. He becomes evil like that as soon as the door shuts in the caterpillar room, and you know that he shoved them in there because they're probably going to die. You know that he's become evil from that second moving forward, and the next time you see him, he's an asshole. You know, like he doesn't keep up a facade of being a nice person or a nice bear. He's evil right away. With all the other villains, Sid aside, which is he's barely even a villain.
I mean, he's not even a villain, really.
They like the prospector. You think the prospector is nice until like the last 20 minutes of the movie, you know, like so it's a pretty big difference. Interestingly, with Toy Story 4, they did something different where the villain is obviously a villain right from the start, which is Gabby, and then you find out that she's actually really not bad, and that she has that to me was them doing a villain correctly, but we'll get to that because I was on board with that story. The best villains are the ones where you understand their motivations. And
well, do you not understand his motivation? Lotso was just a hurt piece of shit.
I never would have been that.
I'm not saying to be sympathetic toward the bear in any case. I'm just saying it makes sense. And that's what I like about Toy Story 3.
Eh.
If toys were to be alive, for example, like I said, there's that natural progression. Obviously, there's going to be some kind of community at a daycare center where toys that are forgotten are dropped off. Of course, there's going to be a hierarchy there. It's going to be like real life. And then when the new people come in, the new toys come in, obviously, what does Lotso do? He scouts him out and takes Buzz because he could be an asset to him and everybody else is a throwaway trash. You know what I'm saying? So
He doesn't take him right away, though. He shoves him into the caterpillar room where he could end up dying until later on.
Then he sees what he's capable of. So
yeah,
he is a piece of shit, and that's fine. I'm totally okay with that.
Massive piece of shit. He's just like Umbridge, like I was saying. So Umbridge comes in, takes over the entire school, being just pure evil. I watch Order of the Phoenix. I don't know how you watch it, but I watch it frustrated as hell. Like it just frustrates me. Everything
what I do is, and I've said it to you multiple times in person, and I've said it multiple times on the podcast. I've just finally got to a point of watching these movies for 20 years now that I just separate them. I can't watch the movie and still get mad that something from the book wasn't in it when I saw that movie 14 years ago.
That's
you know
not
what
I mean. I mean, the character frustrates me. She frustrates me in the book too, but like I said, the book has a much longer time to sort of build to that frustration. Like the movie should have been 2 movies for that book. No, just the character herself from the very first time you see her where she's, one of the judges in the Wizengamot. Wizengamot. Yeah, I know. I've never been fully sure how to pronounce that. But she's one of the one of the judges, and she's evil right off the bat. Like just terrible toad creature. I was like, what? I don't know. Like she's just awful, and then she comes in, and her stupid toad ass goes and changes everything of the school, and she tortures Harry, and she's just every little thing. She becomes a dictator of the school, and I hate it. I hate it so much. It bothers me. And that's what Lotso is. He's the dictator of this daycare, and it's the same sort of thing. It frustrates me, and I'm like, I don't like this. This would be fine in another movie if this is your bag. It's not my bag, man. And it's not why I watch a Toy Story movie. So, though I said this yesterday, you like it. A lot of people do. Most people do. I'm in the minority. And that's fine. It's you like whatever you like, and that's great. And I just have to, explain why I don't. But there's 2 things I wanted to say though. Giving the movie, its due, so to speak. The opening, like you said, is great, of course. It reminds me of Goldmember. It's strangely enough. And
yeah,
then
baby.
Yeah, with Tom Cruise playing him in a movie in the desert.
Danny DeVito is Minnie.
yeah.
Kevin Spacey,
and it's like Kevin Spacey as Dr. Evil. Yeah, like that's funny. I don't know. It's purely just an tone, basically. It reminds me of that, and setting. But the ending is also great. Even though Andy is now grown up, the way that he sends off each toy with saying what he loves about each toy, giving it to Bonnie, and the fact that he plays with her one last time before leaving, like that I like. So that's pulling on the heartstrings in a way that I like. It didn't feel like baiting to me. It just felt like, this is going to be the last time that he's going to play with these toys, kind of thing. And now he's going to go away to college. It was right for him not to take Woody of course, and that's a great moment as well, because he decides right in that moment Bonnie, would be, probably would get more out of owning this toy, and that he doesn't know that Woody's really alive, but it's better for Woody too, and so that's all good. I like all that. There's some stuff in the daycare that is entertaining. Back to Bonnie's Timothy Dalton as Mr. Pricklepants. I would have liked to have more of that. Of course. I mean, I love me some Timothy Dalton.
That's the only reason why you like that character. If there was this wasn't this connection, you wouldn't care.
I like that he is, because the funny thing
hypocrite.
is too, he literally is just Timothy Dalton, because Timothy Dalton is a theater actor. Like, that's how he started, like Shakespearean theater actor. So he's like, it needs everything to be so like, like he takes playtime so seriously because it's a theater role for him. It's a part. So I thought that was really funny and really good casting to have him specifically do it. Another good one would be like Patrick Stewart. That would have been a good casting for that role as well. So ending was good, beginning was good, blah blah blah. Something else I noticed, so there is an evolution of the way that the toys look. So like I said, I noticed that they look dirty in the previous movies. In this one, they're not so dirty anymore, but they're faded. All their plastic is faded. So, Buzz, the green on Buzz is a much lighter green now. The purple is a much lighter purple. All on Woody, all of his colors are faded now as well. So they have been, they look like old toys where the plastic has faded on. So I thought that was a cool touch as well, that every single one of them, their plastic has faded in color, from being left out in the sun over many years and whatnot. So that was good. And if I had to come up with another positive for this movie, Andy now has hair that moves. So that's cool.
If you ever cared that much, there you go. So,
well, he had a buzz cut. Every single child had a buzz cut in the first movie,
because it was
in
easy.
The second movie. Exactly. And I don't think that they knew the physics. They couldn't work out the physics of it. In the second movie, it's better. It's a little bit longer. Still short though. And then by the time the third movie came out, they were obviously very confident in what they could do with hair. So there you go. Those were my notes. I had the least notes for this movie.
Well, we're already talking too much. I hate how much we talk sometimes. It's a real gift and a curse. Anyway, so here's another natural progression. Everything you said about the ending of Toy Story 3 is why I don't like Toy Story 4. Everything that you complimented is what's wrong to me with Toy Story 4. And this is my feelings with it. I expected Toy Story 3 to be the send-off. I didn't need to see what happened afterwards, because I know what happened. They grew up with Bonnie and then had more play adventures, and then we're going to get to the same thing. It's going to be a cycle. I get that.
Yeah.
So Toy Story 3 ended it in just a perfect way, to where I didn't really have questions. They weren't
sure.
Toy Story 4 gave me more questions than answers of the series. That's what I think bothers me. And I think they like that because they want to probably make a 5, 6, and a 7.
I hate to break it to you, but yeah, they have always had plans to do as many as they can do before Tim Allen and Tom Hanks die. There's never been a time that
I hope they fucking retire.
Usually they're in the planning stages between movies, which is why it takes longer and longer to come out. It's not because they're like, hey, we're not going to do another one. I'm sure that they plan on doing 6 of them all together. That's what I would bet on.
Well, that sounds, you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds tiring. That sounds really fatigue inducing. Because to me, and here's another example. of how I think about this series, and kind of
Okay.
makes sense, right? I don't think Toy Story 4 is inherently a unenjoyable movie. There are things that are good about it, things that are great about it. I love these characters. I can't say that it's complete garbage. But here's the problem. And it's funny because these actually line up numerically. Here's one of my favorite games of all time. It's Halo
Okay.
3. When this came out, it was touted as the stunning conclusion to the trilogy. That's what it was marketed
Well, it's
as.
true. That's the third one. So a trilogy is 3 movies.
And then they go and make this game that is not bad. It's fun. It has the characters.
Is it
I got
4?
some kicks at, yeah, do you
Yeah,
not
it's
read
4.
it?
So that is the, well, in all fairness, that does not look like a 4.
What
Take
does
it
look
away.
like?
I don't know. Bring it back to where you had it. So you're seeing it from my perspective, and look at what that looks like right now. It looks like, I don't know. Maybe a 4, which is what I guess, but that's true though. A trilogy's 3 movies. So this would be a second trilogy if they do 4, 5, and 6 of Halo.
So then at what point are things a series and not a trilogy? If they're not in
as soon
sets
as
of
the trilogy's
threes?
done, if they move on to a 4, then it's a series.
So then Toy Story 4 this is not a trilogy then. This is a series.
But it is the trilogy though. 1 through 3 it's not saying that the series is a trilogy, but that is the trilogy. Trilogy just meaning 3 movies that are connected.
Well, here's my problem with that is stop fucking marketing things like it's going to be the de facto final one. And then 4 years down the pipeline, tell me that you're going to make another one that's just subpar and then just continue it, because Toy Story 4, I didn't need to know anything that happened in it. I didn't think what could happen afterwards, and then we get to Toy Story 4, and then the movie starts 5 minutes after, and this precious toy that meant so much to Andy that he pulled away and almost didn't give to her, that he cried over, 5 fucking minutes later, he gets thrown in the closet. And she doesn't want to play with him anymore. And then it seems like he's going through the same thing with the 18-year-old Andy with 6-year-old Bonnie. And
which is why it's great, because he ends up, because it gives him the reason to finally go out on his own with Bo Peep, because now he doesn't ever have to be tied to a child again.
But then all his friends are gone, and he lives just at this carnival with one other person, and then these
Better
toys,
believe it, baby,
where he defiles his outfit.
Hey now,
no pull string.
How dare you talk about Duke Kaboom in such a way, because he's a part of that group too, baby. It's Bo Peep, it's Duke Kaboom, and it's Key and Peele, and it's Woody, and it's great.
Yeah, that is not. That's more like Toy Story, the fanfic comedy that somebody came up with. And that's what a lot of this movie feels like to me. It's just a fan fiction of what happened afterwards.
See, that's how I feel about the third one. So it's like the third one, it's so funny because the third one is like your ending to the series, and like you said, your head canon, the fourth one's not in it. It's like, for me, the third one doesn't exist and the fourth one is my third one. Like, that's how I feel about it. Like, the fourth one just gives me what I want from a Toy Story movie. There's no sadness in it. I mean, a little bit, but nothing crazy. It's mostly just, fun and makes you feel good. And the villain was great. And those ventriloquist dummies, which we've never seen a ventriloquist dummy before
from
for
Night
some
of the
reason.
Living Dead.
Like,
Or
it's so
Night
weird.
Of the Living Dummy. That's just all I could think of when I saw that
there's multiples
movie.
of them, but we've never
Yes.
seen a ventriloquist dummy before. And that told me that, like, it was like, oh yeah, we've never seen that before in this series. And they're terrifying, and the way they move around is awesome. And they don't talk because they don't have a ventriloquist. Like they need a ventriloquist in order to talk. So that's smart. Despite what you might say about it.
No, I mean,
really
like I said,
funny.
there are things about the movie that are genius and well crafted as any Toy Story movie. It's just being that it was so unnecessary, and the fact that it was so popular and they're just going to make more, just kind of like it just takes away from some of the charm. And then like I say, it doesn't exist to me, blah blah blah, but it's hard to enjoy then at that point. I think, and I've said this before, I might have said it to you when I initially like reviewed this movie in 2019. I saw it that Thursday, and then I saw Child's Play right after, because there was that great coincide that we talked about previously on the channel. My expectations were higher than they were for Toy Story 3.
Okay.
I was expecting,
which that's a problem.
I was expecting something really grandiose. My thought process was the Pixar division of Disney, with how they knocked it out of the park for 3, couldn't fuck up 4. And then I saw it, and it was just a little too average for me. I think I would have enjoyed this movie much, much more. And this goes against some things that we say. I think this was much better left as a Disney Plus exclusive. I don't think this movie should have been released theatrically. I think I would have been much more accepting if the main 3 were the go-to events of the franchise, and then the rest, because everything's moving towards streaming anyway, put it on there. I think that
would have been fine, but Disney Plus didn't exist, so that sort of flies in the face.
It should have been. You know what it could have been then? Here, let's see if I have it right over here at my arm's length of bullshit. That's going to be the new counter, arm's length of bullshit. This is what that movie should have been to me. Should have been a direct to DVD Blu-ray movie. And I think I would have been much more accepting of it, because it's just whatever. I don't know. That's what the third
one should have been.
No, I don't have too much even more really to say about the fourth one.
I do.
I'll piggyback off what you have to say then.
So right off the bat, the music is better. It felt,
even though they
like
reused
a
lot
music.
of the tracks from the third movie, which I just find
don't know.
funny. When I
watched
it last night.
It actually has Randy Newman sang music in it, so that was better to me. Right, only that one song, like you said, and I don't even remember that song. The first movie, the only music in the first movie are Randy Newman sang songs. Other than the fact it's just a normal score. Yeah. But the actual soundtrack, we're not talking about the score necessarily, but the soundtrack of the movie is only Randy Newman sing songs. That's it. That's what the soundtrack is. They got away from that in the second one. In the third one, they got away from it too, because there's just the one in it. The fourth one has more than one. So that's what I have to say about that. So the music, I don't mean the score, but the soundtrack is better right off the bat. It starts off with "You Got a Friend in Me."
All of them have that, except the second one.
I thought Gabby Gabby was Drew Barrymore at first. I was a little bit surprised that it wasn't.
Okay. I guess.
I just had to make that note. It gave me very strong, and this was probably on purpose, gave me very strong Five Nights at Freddy's vibes, and maybe that's what I liked about it. There's finally, for the first time, there's a G.I. Joe in it. It's called Combat Carl.
Of course, yeah, he was in the first one, but he wasn't
had a G.I. Joe before. Interesting, and that leads into one of the funniest moments with the high fives, because there's that one that keeps on getting screwed over.
And there's so when we do get to see all the toys that are at the thrift store, for example, I don't know if you noticed this, but Tin Toy did make an appearance there.
Okay.
Do you know Tin Toy?
I don't think I do.
Pixar trivia. The very first short that they did was called Tin Toy. And it was just a little like soldier, like tin soldier, and then he was walking around the house and like this giant baby pick him up. You can look it up, Tin Toy. So
I thought
he
the
made
very
his little
first
appearance.
Pixar animation was the lamp.
I don't know if their
Which is
logo
why
was
they
the
do
first
that.
one, but they're
No, it was like
but
an animation featuring that lamp, which is
Well,
why they made it a part of the logo.
I guess Tin Toy, like it has a name and it's a short, their first short that they made.
Okay.
Because Pixar, as you know, I hope you remember at this point, has a short in front of every movie.
Yes, but that's not what I mean. I just meant the very first animation that this.
Oh well, I don't
did.
know if that's it, but I'm talking about their first short with Tin Toy and the baby. So he
Okay.
made an appearance. I don't know if he even knew what Tin Toy was, or like if you could point him out if you knew what he looked like. But Tin Toy should make a little appearance in like every Pixar movie as like the there you go. Yep, Tin Toy. Ooh.
And then this was the very first Pixar animation.
Okay.
Hence why
Luxo,
you know,
Luxo Jr. Right?
Indeed.
Is that it?
I think so. I think that might be what it's called. Yeah, probably. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Yes, Luxo. 1979. What the balls? That's when Pixar started.
They started off as like
A computer technology for film.
yeah, doing like really experimental shit at the time, obviously. I don't know, Brandon, you got to save that for the side. We need to continue talking about this stuff.
That's weird. Okay, so there's the Combat Carls, which that's great. The biggest thing that I like about this movie is seeing Bo Peep back. They kind of gave her the shaft in the third one, and the second one too. They gave her the shaft.
I guess that's why I didn't really care that she wasn't in the third one, because she wasn't ever totally even in the first one, not even totally prominent. He felt prominent. She feels more like a side piece in that one.
Pretty prominent in the first one. But this is the first time that she's ever been focused on the most, and that was great. I love that. Boo from Monsters Inc. makes 2 appearances. I noticed. She's in the classroom scene. And most prominently for me, I was like, Boo was she is playing the game at the carnival and loses and then walks away sad. So so Buzz, even though he is under the impression, see, the story has an arc to it. Even though he's under the impression that his inner voice, his conscience, his conscience is by pressing the button, he knows really, truly, deep down that that's not true. So much so that at the end, when Woody runs back into the antique store and Buzz wants to go after him, but goes, well, what's my inner voice going to say? And he presses it and it's like, time to go home. Go back. All right, let's go back home. You know, that kind of thing. Like, he keeps pressing it over and over and over and over and over and over again. He presses it like 10 times because this movie had a point. His real inner voice, his real conscience is telling him to go into the store and help Woody. But, you know, there was a bit of an arc there, but he ends up listening to it finally, and he goes back to the RV. I thought that was a great moment. This is the first time we have ever seen, barring the first one, where it's sort of like more exorcisty, when Woody talks to Sid in the first one. This is the first time where a toy actually talks to a human. And that is Buzz is trying his damnedest to get them to go back to the antique store. And he keeps on pressing his own button. And, the parents, Bonnie's parents, are like, her mom in particular, is like, what's wrong with this toy? How do you shut it up? He's like, your backpack's in the antique store. Let's go. And she's like, my backpack, it is in the antique store.
Wait, you said that's the only instance? Did you forget completely about the part where Trixie was the GPS directions in the RV?
But that's after that.
Well, I'm just saying, like, did you forget that it existed, period? I didn't know if you were going to mention it.
No, I didn't care about it, though. I mean, this is, I said, barring the first one, this is the first time this has happened. The GPS is after that. So they use the Trixie as the GPS and Mrs. Potato Head, as well as the other thing, Buttercup pulling the gas pedal down. That was to get to the Ferris wheel. That was after that. So this was before that. They had to get to the antique store. So first one aside with Sid, this was the first time that happened. And I thought that was great, because I was like, there was times in the other movies where I was like, just say something, and they did in this one. I thought Woody sacrificing his voice box was lovely. I thought that was completely heartwarming, because he had an evolution of the character yet again, where he knows that this character of Gabby has never experienced the love ever in her entire life that he has
as the villain
entire life. But she really wasn't, though. See, that's the thing. That's why this was a good villain, while Lotso was a trash villain, in my opinion. You feel differently, and that's fine. That's what makes the world go round. But she was a good villain, though, because she's a villain I related to. I understood. It's like, if I was in that position and I was a toy, I might have done the same thing. I don't know. I can't say for sure that I wouldn't.
You might have snatched someone's voice box.
Those are my favorite
yours
villains.
Was defective. She was a bitch.
Maybe.
She's a fucking bitch. The same thing as Lotso. I don't care for her at all.
Yeah, I liked her. And Lotso, as we know, we can't keep harping on this, but I can't stand Lotso. But she was different, mostly because I understood her motivation, and Woody was willing to do it, and it didn't change his life at all. And ultimately it didn't change her life either, unfortunately.
That's what makes it so fucking stupid. Again, just unnecessary. Ugh,
I kept thinking, though, it was corny. It was going to be corny if that little girl ended up taking her home.
Yeah, she looked at her. She's like, nah.
Yeah, which I knew was coming, because I was like, that's gotta happen.
Yeah, I saw that from a mile away.
Yes, and I was like, good, because if she ended up taking her home and she lived happily ever after from that point, it was like, what? But she's a lost toy. She ended up finding a little girl at the carnival that was also lost, and I'm sure, I was lost as a child before. We can all relate to that. And I was lost in a hotel in Washington, D.C., which that was
wow,
freaky.
Did you see Jack Torrance running around the corner when you were lost? Were you on your big wheel?
No. Anyway, I just saw Jack Nicholson drunkenly stumbling around. But no. So whatever. So she finds the lost child, and that child is actually deserving, because they can help out each other. They're both lost, and the voice box helped in that situation. So it got her a child. There's no two ways about it. Keanu Reeves as Duke Kaboom is fucking flawless. That is more so what I would have wanted from the Ken character in the third one. Not that wasn't great. Like, Michael Keaton was great as Ken. I just wanted more of him. And there was a bit more of a focus with Duke Kaboom, which is like this evil Knievel, like Canadian evil Knievel, which is trash. And it's like, he thinks he's awesome, though. He doesn't know he's trash. Everybody else does know he's trash, though. And Keanu Reeves was funny. It felt very like Lego movie-ish to me in the way that he moved, which, it's sort of like stop motion-y. And ultimately, I'm a little on the fence with Woody leaving his friends to go with Bo Peep. Mostly Buzz.
See, I just don't know why Bo Peep, this singular entity, couldn't be with them.
Yeah, I know.
It retcons the third movie to me in a way. And then I just think about it, and on paper and on film, whatever. Yeah, it looks nice to see like the hat pass, the badge and all that shit. I get it. It looks
he keeps
cute.
the hat, but
whatever.
He gives up the badge.
And then
he's not like, hey, Jesse, give me your hat.
Oversized hat on your little head.
Yeah,
but
put on top of your hat.
Yeah. Oh shit, my AirPod fell out.
Oh,
my
God.
my AirPod. Yeah, I hate the ending. That's probably my biggest problem with that, is that Woody, this person who has been with the same group of toys for 25 years in the filmic world at this point, is going to give up every single bit of it to be with Bo Peep, who he hasn't seen in how many years would that be in the headcanon? And then what are they going to do with the carnival together? Be with Ducky and Bunny and then like the random toys that come in and out? It just sounds horrible. I guess they're going to ride off into their
there's Duke Kaboom.
skunk roller and Duke Kaboom. And then, oh wait, how could I fucking forget Officer Giggle McDimples? Get out of here.
I love that thing. The obviously Paw Patrol reference. Because I used to have those little toys that were little, really tiny toys like that.
Yeah,
that were in like a little
human.
In a little thing, and it was like that was like the world it lived in was like in this little thing. Yeah, it was definitely tiny enough to swallow by anybody. So that was interesting too, because those types of toys were never shown in Toy Story either. So there's 3 different types of toys that were like completely new to the world of Toy Story, and who knew that was going to be done in the 4th movie.
Well, that's how I feel about the 3rd one. Chatter Telephone, I forgot to mention earlier.
I like
Chatter Telephone and the monkey were fucking awesome. And let me just say that 2 minutes before we start to wrap up. I love that whole prison escape sequence of the 3rd one was handled very well, very comedically. I like how they use the strength of every single character to get out of there, including Mr. Tortilla Head, which was hilarious.
Yeah, I like that. That was good.
So I did want to mention how much I really liked Chatter Telephone in that one. If we're going to talk about other characters.
It was like, you ain't never getting out of here.
Yep.
Or whatever. You and your
get
friends
outta here?
ain't never getting out of here.
You want to get out of here? Get rid of that monkey.
Yeah. There used to be, that was like one of the trailers. It was the teaser, or it was like one of the official ones, or it was just one of the TV spots. But I remember seeing that while watching TV all the time. It's like, you and your friends ain't never getting out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. I remember hearing that all the time. But yes, great character. And also he was broken, unfortunately. He's like, I ain't never gonna be broken. And then he was next time we see him. Yeah. Yeah. Which is sad. Yeah, see, yeah, that was all good. I just, whatever. Cut Lotso out of the movie. and then I'm good with the movie.
Okay, so I guess as far as the fourth one, then the ending probably is my buzz, the ending, and also the fact that every single toy took such a backseat in the fourth movie.
Yeah,
it seemed like Jesse, Slinky, Mr. Potato Head, and I understand Don Rickles died in the middle of production. I get that. There just nothing was utilized for the next toy. It just seems stupid. And for the fact that they had to defile Woody in the beginning with Bonnie being written under there, and then she throws him to the wayside immediately, I'm done. I remember seeing the promotional stuff for Toy Story 4, and there was like the feet print of Woody and Buzz on the ground, and it said Bonnie on it, and I'm like, am I really gonna like this movie that much? And you know what? I guess, and like I said, when I first saw the movie, I gave it like an 8 out of 10, and I guess I still kind of feel that way. I feel like it's good. It's above average. It's not great.
Yeah.
If this is the new generation's Toy Story, enjoy it. I feel bad for you, son. The trilogy is what I had growing up, and mine was better.
Well,
and
I
you know what?
We saw yesterday.
I don't like things that are different.
I don't either, and that's what I'm saying.
But at
that's
least
why the third one bothers me.
I still kind of grew up with the third one. I was still like 16 or 17 or whatever.
I am very against change, and the fourth one felt more in line with the first two.
Oh no, because it rips everybody from their core at the end, and it just doesn't make for a happy ending. The third one ended.
It was happier to me than it's ever been.
No, trash.
Woody has always been tied to a child, and he thought that was what he wanted in life. And it turned out that no, he's so much happier on his own. And that's ultimately what he decided at the end, was to be on his own. And it was like, finally, the character has made a meaningful evolution. And honestly, if you were younger, you would have been all over this movie because you are a Woody nut hugger.
Well, that's what I hate about it.
And let's put that on a t-shirt, though. Woody nut hugger. And the movie is Woody's movie. It's completely Woody's movie. Completely. Literally, you said it yourself that they didn't focus on any of the other characters, and you're right, they didn't.
And that's just not toys. Just because I like Woody the most doesn't mean I want him to be on his own and have his own movie.
I'm not saying that
Woody works in tandem
if you were younger,
with everybody
you
else.
would, though.
Yeah, well, I was also an idiot. I mean, I still am now, but whatever. That's beside the point. No, and we're gonna have to wrap it up. I have to wrap it up now. So, yeah, the first two are perfect. The third one is very enjoyable, and fourth one, yeah, it is a good movie. I don't care for it. I might watch it again next year. I don't know.
And for me, the first one is perfect. The second one is great. The fourth one is what did you say about the fourth one?
I said it was good.
What'd you say about the third one?
It was great, maybe. I don't know, something along those lines.
Now I've muddied the waters, but
yes, you have.
But perfect. The second one is great. The fourth one is good, and the third one it's certainly a movie. I'm kidding. So the fourth one, I thought the fourth one was really good, and the third one is good. The third one's good. That's the way I look at it. It's good. Yeah, it's good. Whatever. It's good.
So we just take our opinions and just flip flop 3 and 4, and there
swapped.
you go.
Yeah, it's swapped completely. But the first two, we are in total agreement on the first two. So
yeah, and as much as I love the third one, I would have been totally happy never seeing another Toy Story movie again. And
I'll be honest with you, I don't think they should have.
I'm fine. I would have been fine without 3, and I love it, but I do agree with you there. There was no reason to even do 3, which is even further never a reason to do 4, which really upsets me for the inevitability.
Yeah.
the end of it, of the next in the series. And you know what? I really hate to say this, guys, but Toy Story 5, I'm not checking that out in theaters unless they do something really crazy. Because what are they gonna
Liar,
do?
liar, pants on fire. Wait. Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Yeah,
El Pacino.
that. So what could they possibly even do? Like Buzz wonders how Woody is doing and then sends a
I think
fucking
that it would be a
email.
Buzz-centric movie.
Well, there
that
already is
would
a
be-
Buzz-centric movie coming
I
out
know.
called Lightyear.
That's
I saw the
true.
trailer for that, and even though it was a teaser trailer,
Yes. I'm very
don't give it-
confused
I
and
don't
conflicted about this.
I don't know.
We already know everything there is to know about the character of Buzz Lightyear, just like we know everything there is to know about the character of Sheriff Woody, right?
Yep. So here, this is
What
how,
else
how-
are you going to do? And why is Tim Allen not providing the voice? Why is it Chris Evans?
So
I'm
what
so
Brandon,
conflicted.
what we just witnessed Brandon do for the end of the episode is how I felt when Toy Story 4 was announced. Now you get it, because now that you've seen the other ones, why
So
this?
it's the fourth one comes out and he's going, I don't get it. Why is Tom Hanks in this movie? Why is Tim Allen in this movie? It makes no sense to me. I just had to switch it from what I just said.
That's
You know, that's the only thing I could imagine. Obviously, I understand what you're saying, though. You said this isn't necessary. Why are they doing this? This movie better be great if it's going to justify existing. And then
Mhm.
you saw it and you're like, it doesn't really justify existing.
That's how I
Maybe
feel about
because
that Lightyear
I feel like the
movie.
third one doesn't either. So maybe that's why it just doesn't. You're much more deeply connected to the third one than I will ever be, and ultimately that's why there's a difference.
Mhm.
And that's fine. Who cares?
I don't.
But we can come together and agree
Come
that
together.
this right now.
I don't want to get his copyright struck again.
Over me. Yeah. Out of all my beautiful singing we've gone through, it's never been claimed, and I'm very disappointed about that.
What is YouTube trying to say?
I don't know, but I don't like it. We can agree on the fact that this Lightyear movie is absolute trash.
It looks like shit. Yeah.
I'm sure it
I don't
does.
even like the way Buzz looks. I don't like the way the suit's supposed to look. It just looks.
I don't get what they're trying to do, because the show, the Buzz Lightyear show,
Hero Star Command was what Buzz
that
is.
was it. Yeah. The toys, that was one thing that I didn't make a note of, but I thought about it watching these movies. The toys look like the real things for the most part,
Yeah, just
the
with
real-
some stylistic differences.
Right. Because the real Woody is a puppet hanging from a string, The real Buzz is an animated drawing, So they're pretty similar. There's not a big difference there. And so I don't know what they're doing with this. And again, why is Chris Evans providing the voice?
Because he's popular right now. The kids know his name. The kids don't care about Tim Allen. Home Improvement's not a regular series anymore. People don't care.
Anyway, you finally got what you wanted, though, because I'm sure they'll come out on Disney Plus, premium
Exclusive.
premiere. Which again, the point I was making is I don't know if they're going to stick to that for 2022 and beyond, because COVID is obviously not as much of an issue now. But
I didn't want it to be a
discovered-
necessity of evil. I wanted it to just be, it was not this big event since the originals are over. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to talk about it forever. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. As always,
Yes,
because we're just gonna keep talking, and I got to keep this guy on track. I've noticed
We do have
after
to
the
keep-
last 3 months.
Yes, but you said that Toy Story 4, you disliked it so much that it should have just been straight to Disney Plus, and I said Disney Plus didn't exist yet. Well, this Lightyear movie can finally be what you wanted Toy Story 4 to be.
Only if
Straight
it
to
doesn't
Disney
come out in
Plus.
theaters. Yeah, go straight there and just skip.
Well,
it.
it will. That's not even a possibility, but
Yeah,
That's it.
I think that's it for now. So, anyways, guys, thanks.
Pikachu.
Take care. Yeah, let Brandon take a peek at you. Ew, that sounded terrible. Ugh.
Sounds like the prospector.
Bell, ding,
Do you want to
subscribe.
be in Toy Story 5?
Eh?
All right, that's gonna be our post credits. Oh, stop, Brandon. That's disgusting. Get out of here.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.